My story begins in 1971 in a small village of Calapte, in the highlands of Guatemala, close to the highest volcano in Central America, Tajamuco. I was there to introduce fertilizer experiments. Little did I know that this experience would ignite my passion to help and serve the most vulnerable people in the world. Each morning, I get up, have a cold shower, and stroll over to Doña Martha's house for a meal she charged me a whopping 25 cents for. On this particular morning, I was about ready to complain about only getting one hard-boiled egg with my black beans and tortillas. But fortunately, my limited language ability didn't let me do that. And I realized I was the only one getting an egg out of the 8 people in the family. After breakfast, I headed down to the valley for my experiments. I passed through a cemetery with small graves, and I'm asking myself, are they burying their dogs there? Soon I'd learn that these tiny graves were the angelitos, little children less than a year old who died and were considered sinless. Therefore, the community would celebrate their death every year. The irony and tragedy would stay with me. I headed back to Calapte after our work was done. I go up to my little room just as a thick fog was rolling in. There was no bar, nothing to do. I closed my door, put on my lantern. I had a couple of candles for warmth, put on the shortwave radio and a book. I was feeling isolated and lonely. The next morning I awoke with a horrendous stomachache. I could barely get out of bed. I was semi-conscious. And then I'm thinking, well, wait a second, no problemo. I'm going to be medevaced by a helicopter, right? And then it occurs to me, oh no, the telegraph is down, the phone has never worked, I'm toast. Martha and 2 other women bring herbs and remedies. They figured out I was ill, and they brought the temperature down. Within 3 days, I was walking up the mountain to the bus to get back to the city. These 3 women, though, had saved my life with remedies that the community had known for centuries, and it reminded me of one very important lesson: to be aware of those around you, no matter how humble their circumstances. The Peace Corps was really concerned about my situation. They sent me to a new site called San Jeronimo. One afternoon, I'm walking down the street, the only paved street in town, and I see this lovely strawberry blonde girl riding down the street on a white horse. I asked my buddy Adolfo, so who is she? The festival queen Lika, he says. Wow. I met her, and the first thing I asked her, well, did you ever get any schooling, any education? Yes, I'm a teacher, and I have an engineering degree in agriculture. Well, do you work? I'm thinking she's working at home. Well, I teach 3rd graders at San Juan del Arco. Well, what do you do when you're not teaching? Thinking she's probably having fun with friends. Oh, I love drama. Carmina Burana is my favorite play. And of course I'm thinking, who is Carmina? We had many enjoyable weekends on the plantation her family owns in San Francisco, Miramar. This was a revelation. Now I knew, as I saw the workers in the back of trucks, where they were going, down to the South Coast, to make $2 a day for a 12-hour workday. And them and their families would be on a concrete slab with no latrines, although San Francisco did have latrines. I felt I had my feet in 2 separate worlds. The relationship with Leek had blossomed. She assured me we'd only have a small family wedding. Well, 85 people came. 8 of them I knew. Paco Villagran Kramer, the former vice president, UN representative, was a friend of her father. He led the ceremony. But no Peace Corps staff was invited, because I would have been given a 1-ticket home. Upon reflection, and in the spirit of transparency, I probably should have warned Lee about a few things. First off, he's going to be taking you back to Colorado to meet his parents, the middle of winter, under 2 feet of ice and snow. He'll be threatened by guerrillas in Colombia. You'll be given less than 3 days to pack up and get the children out of the country. And he'd take you to a West African country where Lassa disease, green monkey, dengue, malaria are commonplace. Today, Guatemala is my 2nd country. I'm grateful to Guatemalans for their patience and willingness in allowing me to learn their culture and what good development is. They really allowed me to develop my dream to serve the most vulnerable in the world. Leek and I have been married for over 43 years now. None of this would have been possible without the Peace Corps. And we've been raising money and doing work for different international organizations all that time. Now we're returning to Guatemala to develop a plan to have our 3 children and 6 grandchildren come back to Guatemala periodically. They need to become part of the global community and promote a more peaceful world. Promote understanding among other people, in our case, for Guatemala, the land of the eternal spring.